Kingstowne. On Sunday, November the 14th, we had our very first charge conference as a United Methodist Church. And some of you were not able to be there. And we apologize that we weren't able to stream it online for you. And so this is my 10-minute summary of what happened at Charge Conference 2021. It may be interesting, it may be boring, but I figured I should inform you of what happened. Charge conference, though, you're probably wondering, what is a charge conference? This word charge can be confusing. In the United Methodist Church, sometimes multiple churches can be served by one pastor. This happens a lot in like rural Virginia, where there's one pastor that kind of circulates between multiple small churches in the country, but also technically Aldersgate and Kingstowne were one charge under the leadership of the senior pastor of Aldersgate, even though I served Kingstowne primarily, right? It's a charge is defined by the pastoral leadership. Well, for Kingstowne, this is the only church I serve, and you're not in a charge with other churches. I give you 100% of my time, which means that charge and church are basically synonymous for us. So a charge conference is just a church conference. About 2 Sundays ago, we had our very first charge conference, and so let me share with you a little bit about what happened in that conference. First of all, we directed you towards our website, where you can find the full charge conference packet, kingstownecommunion.net/charge conference. At this conference, there were some key roles that need to be filled. Brett Sammons was our recording secretary, and so Brett has actually created a secretary's executive report of the conference, and that is also available for you to read. We first opened up with a message from the district superintendent, who is my boss, Sarah Calvert, who explained, and I'm going to summarize what she explained. If you would like to see the full video, I will also post that on our YouTube channel. But I'm going to summarize what she explained, that we recently moved in the United Methodist Church from 16 districts with 16 district superintendents to only 8. And she has way too many clergy now to actually show up and lead this meeting. Way too many churches under her command, and so she's having her clergy who are ordained lead their own charge conferences. And so that's what I did that Sunday. We briefly opened with prayer because she led us in that way. Zach Linkay kicked us off first with the business of the church being the main reports that we have to share and the main things that need to be voted on at the charge conference. And there were 3 things that needed to be voted on. Things that you all have never voted on before, because Aldersgate always did those things. They would vote on my salary. Their leadership was an official leadership body. My leadership led, but they weren't officially recognized by the United Methodist Church. And we have never had to have a trustees report because, well, we've been a part of Aldersgate. So 3 things that we had to vote on. You all had to vote on my salary compensation. You will find those documents in the charge conference report. And you voted on together my base salary, my housing allowance, which is a very normal thing for pastors to have if you don't have a parsonage. We don't even have a church, so of course we don't have a parsonage. And then other things that went related to that for tax purposes. You all voted on that, and that was voted in unanimously. It was affirmed, and it was brought to the table by Rita Grozda, who is our Staff Parish Relations Committee Chair, and you all received that report and voted yes. Then we brought forward our leadership report, and we had to vote in a few new leadership team members. All of our other leadership team members were voted in, well, not really voted in, but kind of voted in at Aldersgate Charge Conference in the past. Were covered under those charge conferences, but our new leaders, Christian Campy, Melissa Hall, are joining our leadership team, and then we had to vote for Carly to be our representative to annual conference, which is the kind of big whole Virginia conference of the United Methodist Church. She will be our representative to vote on our behalf at that conference. And then finally, Megan, who is our trustees chair, brought forward a motion very simple motion that reads, the lead pastor, Michelle Matthews, of this unincorporated United Methodist Church in Fairfax County, Virginia, shall be the person authorized to sign the petition and order the appointment and substitution of church trustees. And this is so that we can register our property with the circuit court in Fairfax County. And so you all voted that in. You voted the leadership in. You voted for my salary compensation. And basically the business part, the things we had to vote for, were done. In addition to that, we then moved on to the second half of the agenda, where that included a State of the Church report, which Zach gave, beautifully said, but man, do we have a whole lot to celebrate this year. And it's all so much encapsulated in our infographic that we sent out in our stewardship packet. But you can read my entire pastor's report about this year's ministry and mission, and you can see that infographic and see all of the numbers and all of the paperwork required for a charge conference by going to kingstownecommunion.net/charge conference and pulling up that report. I gave a brief clergy report, but that was also in writing in the packet, and you can read that. Then Allie, our financial administrator, came forward to share just the basic numbers of our finances for 2021, where we are this year, what revenue is looking like, and what expenses are looking like, and what it looks like will come in for this year. The good news is it looks like our revenue will cover our expenses. Our revenue in congregational giving alone will cover our expenses. And there is a line in that budget that says additional revenue, and that is looking at, it's about $21,000, and that is the PPP grant that we received by applying for it during COVID. And that line, we will use it if we have to at the end of the year, but we anticipate not having to use any of it and being able to roll it into a reserve for the future, a 3-month reserve, to know that we will be viable and that we are vital, a vital congregation that's not, a month before closure, right? That we have some money in the bank that can be a buffer for us. That's what we hope to do with it this year. And Allie explained that at the meeting. Then Melissa Russell, not Hall, we have multiple Melissas on the leadership team. Then Melissa Russell came forward, our financial chair, and shared about our 2022 target budget, which was right next to, you will see it in the same financials. We set it next to our 2021 financials so that you can do that comparison on your own. Again, these financials are all in the Charge Conference report that you can find at kingstownecommunion.net/charge conference. She shared why our stewardship goals are what they are this year, why we have adjusted some expenses in certain categories based on who we are as a church now. And then we opened up the floor for questions. And mainly the questions we received were related to children's minister. Is that salary accounted for in our 2022 budget? Yes, it is. Questions about space at Hayfield. Is the rental of Hayfield, the $500 a week, accounted for in our 2022 budget? Yes, it is. For 36 Sundays of the year. That's what we have built into that proposed budget right now. And then there were some questions about our reserve and our restricted accounts, and we explained that there's about $5,000 in mission. That's what people give directly to mission in a restricted account. We do not use that for anything other than giving it back to the community, and we explained that we have some ways to use that money this winter, this December, for our dinner at Rising Hope, but also ways to use that money to buy presents for Angel Tree Project through Rising Hope. So we will see those numbers go down, and we never want to keep money in the budget that is earmarked for mission. We want to always give it away. And because of that, we noticed how much people gave to mission outside of our operating budget, and we celebrated together at the end of the Charge Conference that this year we have given almost $20,000 back to the community. That is incredible. And that is in fact more than a 10% gift of our ministry expenses to the life of the community outside our doors, having nothing to do with anyone coming in and receiving anything from the ministries of our church, but fully giving it away. So we celebrated, we said our goodbyes, and then we packed up at the school. If you have any other questions about the Charge Conference and what we talked about, why we talk about it, and what is this thing called Charge Conference, and where does it fall in all of the bureaucracy of the United Methodist Church, you can always reach out to me, and I'm happy to answer those questions at Michelle@KingstownCommunion.net. Thanks for watching if you did. Hope you weren't bored.